fellow disciples. I am your host, Mpondams, and welcome to another episode of Disciple Thoughts. I was having a conversation with a friend during the course of this week, and this friend of mine was telling me about how she feels as if she is not doing enough for the Lord. As a matter of fact, she feels as if she's not doing anything for the Lord, right? And when I heard that, I felt as if, girl, you are, and I'm so sorry to put you in the spotlight, friend. But I felt as if she is condemning herself, right? And for some reason, I was led to read, I guess let me say that Galatians 6:4 triggered something in me in relation to that conversation, wherein Paul says that pay careful attention to your own work, for then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done, and you won't need to compare yourself to anyone else. You know, it's interesting how the Lord speaks to us, because I thought I was ministering to my friend, not knowing that the Lord is also ministering to me, back to me. So I always find that very interesting. But anyways, as I was reading the verse, it came to me that this verse is very it's such a humbling verse and a comforting verse all at the same time. And what I mean by that is that it's sad to know that no matter how good you are performing, no matter how 100% you are, how good you are at something, for as long as you are comparing yourself to someone else, you could never be satisfied. Literally, that's what Paul is saying, that pay careful to your own work, then you will get a satisfaction for a job well done. It's only when you examine your own work, you look at your own path, you look at the standard that God has set for you, only then will you get a job satisfaction. Yet at the same time, that is comforting to know that, okay, meaning that I don't even need to compare myself to that one. I don't even need to look at other people. Even if I got 10%, I made an example because I posted this on my WhatsApp status because I was very, excited about this whole concept or scripture. And the example was to say that even if I get 60% on a test and previously I had gotten 50%, that 60% I will be satisfied in it because I know I improved, and the satisfaction is coming from the fact that I'm looking at my own work. Like, I'm looking at where I'm from and where I am now, and that's an improvement. Therefore, I am satisfied. But if let's say again, I have that 60%, but I look at the one who got the 100. Once I look at the 100%, once I look at the 90%, I won't feel satisfied in what I did. In as much as before I looked at someone else, I was satisfied. But the minute I looked at someone else, the minute I compared myself to someone else, I felt as if what I'm doing is not enough. And so, yes, I think it's good news that all it takes for me to be satisfied in life, because at the end of the day, that's all we are chasing. I always say that we are all chasing satisfaction. Does not matter how you put it, but all in all, we want to be content. We want to be satisfied with life. That's all the work that we put in. This waking up, getting 24/7, waking up to, all of this is for us to be satisfied in life. And what's the point of working for you to be left dissatisfied because you are comparing yourself to someone else. And besides comparing yourself to someone else, one thing that the book of Ecclesiastes is teaching me is that overall satisfaction comes from the Lord, right? And I think the Lord, in another verse, Solomon says that for us to enjoy the fruit of our labor, to drink and enjoy, eat the fruit of your labor, that is a gift from the Lord, right? Meaning that it's God who gives you the joy of the work that you do. Like, for you to actually eat and enjoy the fruits of your labor, that's the gift from God. And meaning that God gives you satisfaction when you are walking according to the standard that He has set for you. God can never satisfy someone who is living outside His purpose, living outside His will. He only gives us satisfaction when we are seeking His will, His way. In Matthew 5, what does Jesus say? He says that hunger and thirst for righteousness, then you will be satisfied. I think the point that I'm trying to drive is that when we hunger for what's God's, when we hunger for God's will, for God's ways, for God's righteousness, that's when we are satisfied. So satisfaction belongs to the Lord. It's Him who grants it. It's Him who gives it. And so the Lord only gives satisfaction when we are walking according to His will. Am I making sense? So He could never give us satisfaction when we are walking in someone else's standard. When you are trying to do impose things, when you are trying to pursue impose dream, Bonang's dream or whatever, you could never be satisfied because it's not the will of the Lord. That's the will of the Lord for Bonang. That's the will of God for Paul. That's the will of God for whoever. But God also has a will for you, also has a purpose for you, and He will satisfy you according to that purpose. Does that make sense? Guys, thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week.